Hi everyone, I am Prasoon, part of Akamai Cloud product marketing team, and today I'm here to talk about our customers have been asking for a way to get all the benefits of Kubernetes without the complexity of Kubernetes. And to talk about this, I have with me Alan Due, who is the director of product management for our cloud native products in Akamai. Alan, you have been talking to a lot of enterprise customers, right? What are the main challenges they share with you when they try to implement Kubernetes in their organization?
Customers are really, they're focused on getting distributed compute and leveraging cloud and global resources so that they can deliver digital experiences to their customers. Kubernetes is just a means to do that. And so the farther and farther away you get from, a customer's core domain, their expertise in the area that they want to differentiate in, the more and more customers look at that particular technology as just a means to an end. And so what customers tend to look for when it comes to things like Kubernetes is, yes, it is a complex system. So they look for, folks like ourselves to then bring managed services. So a managed version of Kubernetes, to the offering there. Now, not all customers are the same. Some obviously have investments across that front. So, when we tend to talk to customers, the story that really I think impacts the most is to say we have different technologies with respect to Kubernetes anywhere you are on that journey.
We'll go through a lot of customer surveys, a lot of organizational survey from CNCF and from other companies also, right? One thing they're really struggling with is operational complexity. How do they manage Kubernetes on their own? What is Akamai's vision behind that? Like, how are we trying to solve that problem for the enterprise customers?
We tend to, as product managers, occasionally kind of think of just, one problem. Let's just do one managed Kubernetes. And the reality here is that doesn't oftentimes satisfy, like you said, the operational concerns or the needs of customers. And so I think from our product vision perspective, a key component here is saying, let's understand the pattern of adoption and then make offerings that are meaningful to customers within that space.
So we just hit GA with one of our new product for cloud native and for Kubernetes, that is App Platform. And the market is really excited about that platform, right? So can you explain me in a nutshell, like what exactly is App Platform and how it is going to benefit the organization who are trying to use Kubernetes at scale?
When customers are adopting Kubernetes, a main thing that they're trying to do is create a developer experience where the developer doesn't have to kind of be concerned about all of that infrastructure layer below them. And so using, modern practices around automation and security integration, shift left, type of activities, those types of things coming into the picture is really sort of creating an experience for developers that allows them to kind of get the best out of being in cloud. And so that app platform is really a experience that's really designed to kind of make developers' lives really, really easy on that front. For us, one of the ways that we diverge, I think, from other offerings on the market is we create a solution using open source components that install into a Kubernetes cluster that then make up that app platform for you. So the operators still have extensibility, they still have choices and options along that front, but developers still get to benefit from having a very, very good experience with respect to like not having to deal with infrastructure.
Again, when I see CNCF open source solution, they are like more than hundreds of open source solution. They are like 100 solutions for storage, for networking, for security. Which solution have we chosen? Like how did we choose those solutions for App Platform?
It takes a long time to kind of learn the hard lessons of picking and choosing pieces throughout there. I will say when we built an app platform, one of the things we were able to do is take our experience from having built other app platforms here at Akamai and then aggregate that information. There's patterns here where, hey, there's an observability side of the house. There's a user management side of the house. And so being able to really stratify what are the broad components that are necessary for a good app platform experience first, and then going to CNCF and looking at the various different offerings within that stack that then fit or overlap, one or more of those areas. That's really kind of the starting point. But I think that, the one key part here wasn't sort of looking at, who's the most popular or what the trends are from a adoption perspective of a individual CNCF project. Is actually looking at what is the supportability across this. The hardest part about an app platform is actually making sure that all of those components then can be upgraded, that can support the next upgraded version of Kubernetes, can support any other dependencies that are along with it. And so we put a big emphasis on the operations side of App Platform, making sure that we have mature products that then had those dependencies that then kept up to date with the rest of the platform. So we can help customers by upgrading App Platform along with their Kubernetes version within LKE. And so these are the real kind of key areas, I think, that kind of make a difference.
When I talk to developer, or when we talk to any developer, when they try to use a new product, right? I think one of their major challenge or major concern is they don't want an abstraction layer which again locks them into that product. How are we solving that concern for those developers?
When we've developed App Platform, we kind of took two core principles and made sure that we honored those throughout that development and design process. And one of those is using open source technologies, being open about this. And so App Platform itself, its core deployment is in fact open source, and customers are able to deploy those even outside of Akamai Cloud. And as a result, being able to kind of offer that kind of honors that no lock-in kind of like concept along the way. But I think more importantly, one of the things that we've incorporated as a design element is, even though developers have that experience of just being able to set up their workloads, point to a source code repository and have the system move that into a deployment, we didn't want to be opaque about that. So we still transparently allow developers to see the Argo pipeline, for example, for that particular piece. We still let them kind of drill into other things to understand that. And I think that's the right concept along the way. As a developer, you want to understand when an abstraction happens. You still want to be able to understand what's happening below kind of that abstraction itself. And so as a result, we think that as we push this stuff forward, App Platform is more or less like a way that developers will look at and say, hey, this is what we were going to build anyway if we were going to build something, and I get to kind of understand how it works under the hoods. So it's less of a risk from an investment perspective here to say, I want to learn how App Platform works and that interface versus something that's tied to a specific vendor or an opaque solution. And as a result, we're hoping that this is worth it. We make it worth it to our development community to pick up App Platform, and not have that worry about yet another kind of tool along the chain.
So let's talk about a use case now. Can you give me any specific example of use cases where App Platform can be very beneficial if we compare it to DIY Kubernetes?
In my experience, App Platforms take months, sometimes years, honestly, to develop and deploy. There's just too many different choices along the way and learning lessons. And so, to start off with just being able to kind of set up something and get an App Platform experience within a couple of hours is really, really beneficial for customers. Having, the ability to put this into developers' hands within a day or two, is a really a valuable learning. We're reducing that learning cycle for customers and getting that feedback loop, really, really tight for customers who are trying to get that operations and development DevOps sort of cycle going. The other key value point is, if once you get one of these App Platforms, maintaining them is a lot of work, right? As I mentioned earlier, compatibility across these components means that sometimes you're really stuck with doing weird operations things to try to stay up to date. We take care of all that for you. So it allows these operations teams to really then focus on the next thing. How do I build other stuff? How do I create more things within the developers' team spaces, right? And so I want this team to use this kind of database versus the other one. Here's the install for Postgres. Here's the install for MySQL. Those types of capabilities moving forward really, I think, help developers and operators work together in a much, much tighter cycle. What kind of workloads you can run there? All kinds of workloads, obviously. And so there's a ton of examples out there, and we look forward to kind of learning about how people do more and more things. Really like the AI inferencing workloads, the examples that have been shooting out here recently. But it just the types of workloads that something like App Platform really accelerates is super interesting. But the time compression of being able to get to that experience is really the value point.
Thanks for your time, Aaron. App Platform is free to use. Whenever you are deploying a Kubernetes cluster on LKE, you can add App Platform and increase the speed of your deployment.